Welcome back to my channel. It's your host Becca, and I'm joined by my one and only Trey. So, welcome. If you haven't yet, go ahead and like this video and subscribe. Hit the bell so that you get notified. I'm here every Tuesday, in case you were wondering. And if you want to see different kinds of videos other than today's, which is like a Grit and Wit episode, podcast episode, you can leave that in the comments, and I'll try to hook you up with what you want to. What do you want to see? What do you want to know? We will let you in on all of that. So, we ready?
Ready as I'm gonna get.
Okay. First of all, I had to basically bribe and beg Trey to be on today's hot podcast.
Not true.
He loves being married to me.
Yeah.
Talk him into. I actually don't talk you into that much stuff. He's really not gonna do it if he doesn't want to.
Agreed.
Do we have any other only children listening? Because this guy does what he wants.
Pretty much.
It's tragic.
Yeah.
It's tragic. Okay, let's start with a fun game. Okay.
Okay.
So, what is your least favorite thing about being married to me?
Your intensity.
I'm just the most mellow person ever. JK.
In what parallel universe?
Okay. My intensity. All right.
It's also one of my top 5 favorite things about you too. So.
Pros and cons.
Yeah.
Okay, what is your most favorite thing about being married to me?
It's probably a tie between your loyalty to your people and your drive.
Ride or die.
All the time.
Okay. Boom. There's that. Wait, what'd you say? My loyalty? My drive.
Your drive.
Yeah, kind of like, hey, we're going to do a podcast today. Are you ready?
Yeah, and it's like,
let's go.
wear you down until you agree to.
Yeah. See? Ride or die.
I could say something about the book Proverbs and a nagging wife, but we'll save that for another day.
I'm not a nag like Proverbs 31 where she just goes after, like she's a businesswoman. She goes after it and she gets it done.
It depends on who you ask.
That's all I'm saying. Okay. Well, my least favorite thing probably is sometimes it's sharing a bed. 2 reasons. 1, when he snores. I'll wake you up, okay? I can't do it. Sometimes I try to put earplugs in if it's real bad, and I'm like, maybe I won't hear it, but sometimes I just can't handle it, so... And then, 2,
She pushes
because...
me at night.
Yes, I'm like, you're snoring. It could be worse. My sister Shelby turns her light on her phone and rolls over and puts it in his face and is like, go to sleep. Okay, or stop snoring. Okay, 2, because I want all the space in the bed. When we first got married, I slept in the middle of the bed, and I feel like that, I want to be able to take all the room up.
I mean, I don't take up a lot of room in the bed.
I know, but y'all know when you're against somebody and their body heat is hot, stuffy, it's I just want to be able to all over. Also, it took me a little while because when we first got married, I didn't sleep with a top sheet. I only slept with a blanket.
So weird.
And I legit would wake up and I would push the sheet to the bottom of the bed. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It would just be all the way at the bottom of the bed.
I don't know how you sleep without a sheet though. I gotta have that layer of softness between me and a blanket.
It was fun. I sleep with a sheet now, and it's good. I like it.
See, I converted her.
I enjoy it. It's fine. So, y'all, most states are phasing back in. Hey!
Phase 1.
I'm excited. So, I will say...
You didn't say your most favorite thing about being married.
Oh, my most favorite thing about being married...
I was going to say, is that all I get is the least favorite thing?
I got distracted. My most favorite thing about being married is probably because you keep me grounded, and you always have good advice for me. You're your wisdom. You're smart.
Thank you.
You can also fix anything.
I guess.
If you don't know how to fix it, you're gonna figure out how to fix it.
that's my nature.
Yeah. So, and not just things, like situations as well. It's not just a handyman, like, you know, he helps me in life.
what's I don't know what the word for that would be besides handyman.
I don't know. But, also, like, you are, like, the way that you have, integrity, that's what I'm looking for, your integrity. To do things well, and, that's, like, your goal, is to do things well, to know all you can know about it, and boom, do it well. Okay. Smart and full of integrity. Okay. So, back to that phase again.
Phase one. Back to phase one.
For some people, life has slowed down tremendously,
Yeah.
but for us, it's only been slightly slower. Slightly.
Yeah, a little different.
Trey's still been working.
Every day.
I still work some, not as much. Definitely slowed down. But even for those that are still working, churches haven't been open. You haven't been able to, like, go out with your friends or go to school or do those extracurricular activities. So it's just a really different pace of life for people. And over the past couple of weeks, I've discussed the different struggles that we've faced during all this, like loneliness, mental health, some people's lack of kindness, and how we can be kind. So what would you say? What would you say your biggest struggle has been during this time? Or, like, the thing that maybe you've liked the least, or whatever?
I mean, I'm kind of, not being able to, some of the inconveniences, and that probably sounds like a real first world answer, and I guess it is, but, the lines are longer at fast food places because they're the only thing open, and you can only go through the drive-thru, but because a lot of the stuff that we've had to kind of deal with, staying home a little more often, that sort of suits me just fine. So, I guess some of those things, and I think from an economic standpoint, I see what it's doing to our economy as a nation. That's a little devastating. I know the kind of effect it's had on a lot of people, and it's had an effect on my job too. I'm fortunate to still be working and that kind of thing, but it has taken our business has taken a hit because of it. So.
Yeah. So there's a lot of struggle, a lot of negativity, a lot of things that we have faced during hardships. And we can get stuck in that negative line of thinking if we aren't careful. There has been a lot of loss of loved ones. Some people have passed. And even not necessarily just because of COVID, but have passed by themselves because people weren't allowed to be with them during this time. And that's really, really difficult.
It's created a lot of loneliness for a lot of people.
Loss of jobs and businesses, and some have had major moments of disappointments, like graduates and people who are newlyweds or were supposed to be newlyweds and haven't because they postponed. Births that have been a little, I don't know, weird. You can only have one person and things like that. And I watched John Krasinski has a YouTube channel, and it's called Good News Network or something.
Pretty Good News or something like that.
Pretty Good News. And they showed a, video clip of all these people getting married and having babies and all this stuff, and I was just boohooing through it, like, okay. People dancing, like, throughout the neighborhood is really, really cute. Anyway, and with all of that heaviness, there is still good, right? There are still good things that we can cling to. There is hope, and that is what we're going to be talking about and focusing on today. Hope and what good we are taking away from this strange time that we are living in, okay? We go through these seasons. We have seasons of change. There will be times where things are different and weird. And so I want to read Ecclesiastes 3, verses 1 through 8. And it says, to everything there is a season. Everything there is a season. A time for every purpose under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck what is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to gain and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. Now, I underlined this particular one because it just made me think of this season that we're in. It says a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. And I was like,
don't touch me.
Right? I actually went to Walmart today and I saw my friend and she was like, she kind of like extended like, I'm a hugger. And I'm like, okay, cool. Because I'm just like, sure, let's hug. Let's be friends. I will embrace you. So I want to encourage everyone out there, like, if you have experienced loss, if you have experienced disappointment, please take that time of mourning. Take that time to weep for the people or the things that, or experiences that you have lost, but also take the time to dance, and to laugh, and to heal, and to learn, right? So what would you say is your biggest takeaway from this time? Like, what have you gained or learned or experienced, enjoyed, realized?
A few things, and I think probably one of the biggest ones is that change is inevitable. Sometimes it happens quickly, and sometimes it happens very slowly. And there's some types of things that we expect, if we have, some changes are major, some are minor, but even like a stone in a river, it's always being changed. Whether we notice it or not, it may take years before we say, hey, this thing's a lot smaller than it used to be, but the one thing that we can inevitably count on is change. And I think one of the things that we have to realize is that change can be a good thing. A lot of times things, for any new construction, right, you have to break some things. You have to break ground, or you have to tear down an old structure. In order for good change to come, sometimes there has to be some destruction in order for good construction to happen. So I think that's one thing that maybe we've been able to see from this, because there's a lot of things that I think we've learned even as a society. Some of the things that aren't as important to us now as maybe they used to be. No matter how you feel about the media's standpoint on this virus or any of those types of things, we are currently in the situation that we're in, whether we buy into it all or not. So, a lot of the things that we've kind of taken for granted, especially in America, is like sports. This is the first time there hasn't been a baseball game on Memorial Day since like 1890 or something like that. And I love baseball. I'm a huge baseball fan, but what we realize is that if you take those things away, I can't wait for baseball to come back. Let me PS with that. But it's, really life just kind of keeps going. A lot of the things that we spend a lot of money on, and a lot of things that we really spend a lot of our energy and lives on, are gone now. Yeah. And I think one of the great things that I know I've heard. We don't have kids or anything, but one thing that I've heard that from a lot of families is that they've began to gather around the dinner table, so to speak, now that they don't have, baseball practice and softball practice and soccer practice, and they don't have all these things that they would normally be part of their routine. So it's kind of put them in a situation to where they're becoming closer as a unit, as a family unit. And I think that's always a benefit. I think that's a plus. It's sort of, in a way, it kind of takes us back to a time when we didn't fill every minute of our lives with some activity.
I feel like a lot of people are let off the hook too, of like fear of missing out. Nothing's happening,
right.
So you don't have to worry about that.
No FOMO. Right.
No FOMO. And it's like anything that happens, it can kind of throw us off, and it just reminds me of that Friends episode. It's like, pivot. You just got to change directions a little bit. And our pastor actually preached a really great sermon on change. So you can go check that out at Crossbridge Church. I'll link it in the show notes. So if you want to go watch that, because he did an excellent job of conveying kind of what change looks like and how we can respond to that, and knowing that, our God is never changing. He's always steadfast for us. Some of the things, so I put this question out there a little while back about like what are some things that you guys are enjoying, and I definitely got a lot of people reading more of like you have all this time now, so you can actually, some people can enjoy these shows that they haven't, that they've been missing, and staying in touch with friends a little better because you're not so busy, you're not so much on the move, that some people have even connected better with people during this time. And so I think that's really cool. I know that a friend of mine, she started crocheting. I've got somebody that started quilting. Puzzles. I mean, we should have invested in puzzles when this thing first started, because I've seen a million people doing puzzles these days.
I started guitar lessons. I've only done a few, but I did start them because we didn't have anything else going on. So.
Yes. And I'm learning sign language, so I'm gonna do this wrong, but there's that. This is supposed to be nice to meet you. I don't know if it's right or not, but we're just gonna pretend it is. But a lot of people have been, like taking time to, like, bird watching was one of the things, and I love that. My favorite are the blue ones, and the cardinals. They're just like, I don't know. They're very few, like they're few and far between. So
people have begun to like just
take
notice of stuff. It's one of the things that I always talk about, like that I love about hunting or whatever, like being in the woods, is you're just sitting there trying to be still and be quiet. So you end up taking notice of every little bird that flies by that's in the range of your vision. You start to just be more particular about what you see in nature and just in your surroundings, and I think that's always a good thing.
And two, one of the responses was that that through one book it led them to really kind of engage the Bible in a different way, and to see more characteristics of who Jesus is, and like just kind of brought some revelation into some things that maybe we've missed before. And they said like that was the most fun and rewarding things that they've done during this time, which I think is really cool. Like, we don't have anywhere to be, we don't have anything to do, so we do have that time to sit down and do that. And there's anybody been eating a little extra? Somebody posted, they were like, I love baking and confectionery, and so they've gotten a chance to like do all these baked goods and sweets, and they're like, it's so therapeutic. I'm like, holla at your girl, I will taste the therapy, okay?
I'm in a weight loss challenge right now, and it's not looking good for me.
Oh!
We kind of started it before this all took off.
Yeah.
Me and some buddies of mine, but jeez.
We did start running a little bit, though.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. I enjoy running. Like, it's enjoyable to me. Trey does not so much enjoy it, but we're learning.
Normally, my motto is if I'm running, you should probably run too. Like, something's chasing me.
But you also want to be ready, like, if something ever does chase you want to be able to outrun it. Right?
I usually say, like, something's chasing me and I'm out of ammo. Like, but.
Anyway. A lot of people have been doing home projects.
A ton of that. Like, go in a hardware store, probably today or, like, over the weekends. Like, I've been working on a buddy of mine's car here at the house, and so I've had to go get bolts and that type of thing. And there's just tons of people in the hardware store, like people that you would not normally see, like doing household projects. They're buying up stuff and they're taking care of those little stuff that they've probably been putting off for a long time. Mm-hmm. So I guess in a way that's cool, but
yeah. So I did paint. I painted my kitchen and my patio.
Hardware stores are probably setting records right now.
Yeah, should have invested in that too. And then there's people who have, there's things that people have been doing and. Learning new hobbies and learning new things, but then also just realizing that we've taken things for granted. Just like we were talking about, being outside, like enjoying, learning that downtime. I had a friend the other day, she said, I realized how restless I am. Right? Like, we feel like we need to be doing, and I'm that way. If I'm not actively doing something, I feel like I'm wasting my time. And I feel guilty. It's the weirdest thing. That's that restlessness inside of us. That's like, I don't know what to do with this, like, stillness, this quiet. And so, but we need to, right? We need to, like, chill out. And, somebody said they've been improvising with working with what's in their house. So what can we do with what we have?
Right.
Like they've been playing dominoes and like paper, these cards, and just, cooking with each other and just appreciating each other's efforts. I had 2 people say, like, I've enjoyed this slower pace of life.
Yeah.
Spending more time at home, in the Word, spending time with their kids, and that kind of thing, right?
Yep.
Like, just being home and being with your family. And I think that we do, like, we miss that. We miss out on so much when we don't allow that time of stillness, when we don't allow that time where we are home and we can literally decompress. There may be some people that are more stressed out during this time, but I hope that we come out of this refreshed. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
We literally have the opportunity to slow down because we're just now kind of phasing back in, but still things aren't kicking back up really just yet. So can we take that time to really self-care and to come out of this with, like, embracing the small things and choosing what we pick back up?
Yeah. And I think that's I don't know if it's just a thing in our culture now. Hard work and pursuing that next dream or whatever has always been kind of an American theme a little bit, But it seems like as the years have gone on, I mean, I've noticed just through my lifetime, the options for, like, parents, like the options for things that their kids can do, and they feel like they need to check off every box, and I think that's great for a lot of kids. That's what they thrive on, is that so that they can kind of find their niche or whatever, whether it be with sports or academics or whatever. We didn't have all those options when I was growing up, and I think it's good for some kids and it's not good for others, and it's not good for a lot of adults. They spend so much time just running. It's hard to settle down.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, and you don't have any time to be bored, and boredom
Right.
is really where creative
drives your imagination.
Right. And so now that we have that time, and so it's I think too, deciding what you're going to pick back up, because literally people keep saying, like, I've enjoyed this slower pace. I enjoy just sitting and being, and how often do we do that?
Right.
We feel obligated, and so I want to say, like, as we start phasing back in, do not do things just because you feel obligated. Don't do things just because you're worried about something, like missing out on something. I want to encourage you to really, really look at what is healthy for my family, what is healthy for me, what does the Lord want me to do, like really allowing the Holy Spirit to lead you in what you pick back up and what you don't.
Right. Choose the things that are really adding quality to your life.
Mm-hmm.
I understand we all have to go through times where we're trying new things, or we're, dipping our toes in this, but once you kind of figure that thing out,
mm-hmm.
like, go after that, and drop some of the other stuff, and pursue the things that add joy and add
mm-hmm.
quality to your life.
Yeah.
And pick those things and go after those things wholeheartedly instead of spreading ourselves so thin.
I like that you talked about joy, because one of the comments was, joy has been found. Mm-hmm. Like, can we find the joy in this season of really crazy, really uncertain times? Can we find the joy and hang on to those things that bring us joy?
Yeah.
So, all right. Do you have anything else you want to add?
I think another thing that I think a lot of people have gained through this is a whole new respect for teachers.
Yeah.
And so, of course, we have a little inside track. My mom's a teacher, and so we know a lot about what they deal with sort of behind the scenes that maybe a lot of parents don't know about, but I think they've garnered a lot of respect over this time. So
yeah.
Big thumbs up, props to you teachers out there.
Yeah. And if we're going to thank the teachers, let's also thank everybody that's on the front lines. That's, if you have been working during this time, then thank you to you.
Like grocery store workers and, these restaurant workers, fast food places and stuff, that they've been just they've been getting after it day after day, adjusting the way that they do business, adjusting the way that they serve their customers so that they could kind of keep things rolling. And so big thanks for all of your hard work.
Thanks, you guys. Anything else?
I'm done.
Done. Thanks to Trey for showing up. We're so excited that I talked him into it. Don't forget, if you enjoyed today's podcast, make sure you share it with a friend, because sharing is caring.
Indeed.
Okay, and you care, in case you're wondering. We'll let you know. If you haven't yet, go ahead and rate a review. If you're listening over on Apple Podcasts, you can do that. And if you are interested in at-home fitness workouts, I have an at-home program. I will leave that in the show notes. And if you want to support the podcast, you can do that at patreon.com/gritandwit. That's patreon.com/gritandwit. All of that information can be found in the show notes.
Hit that like button.
Hit that like button. All right, friends. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. I'm sure Trey will be back. If you want to see Trey back, if you want him to just kind of pop in from time to time, make sure you let me know. Let us know. If you share today, tag me. See you next time, friends.